looking back at it now, it has so much meaning. But at the time, it's like, okay, you're doing a pilot, don't F it up. You know?
Yeah, you're just a kid trying to do the work and not mess it up.
Oh, easy, Tiger.
Dean?
So 2005, I was already on the network on Gilmore Girls, and Jensen was on the network on Smallville.
I've been living in the genre world for a little while, so I was already kind of familiar with that world.
I had watched Buffy and Angel and Roswell and Charmed, and then they were talking about a new show, Supernatural, and I was like, you know what? That's not really the kind of show I want to be a part of if I have the choice. My manager was like, no, it's more X-Files than Buffy or Charmed. It treats itself more seriously. It's darker, it's scarier. And I read it and was like, got it. Okay. I was wrong. They were right.
I was first attracted to kind of the world that it was being told in. And then as I got more familiar with, as I read the script and I saw that the characters and kind of heard Kripke's take on what these characters were loosely based on, which was kind of a Luke Skywalker and a Han Solo, then I was full in. I was like, oh, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in a horror world? I'm in. Let's do this. Anna's a car with guns in the back? Okay.
As I learned about the show and who was behind it, I wanted to do everything possible to be a part of it.
You gotta update your cassette tape collection.
Why?
Well, for one, they're cassette tapes.
The pilot, going back to that scene at the computer in the library, was obviously super formative, and the launch pad. I remember it very, very well. I remember it pretty vividly, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I remember super nervous. And
that was the same day we filmed with RD Call. That was the day where he locks me in the holding room and it's Dad's journal. And I see the coordinates and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that means. And then I picked the lock of that was the same day.
Back in that scene, we were like, not yet, and now we're washed up. So we've run the gambit.
Yeah, and Jared's not an actor. He's got 15 years to go to prove it, too.
I have 327 episodes to prove it.
So you published the Supernatural books?
Yeah. Gosh, these books. They never really got the attention they deserved.
I think that's one of the reasons why we have lasted as long as we have, is because we were a bit of an underdog.
I think it allowed us space to play because we weren't dealing with the expectations that come alongside a smash hit show. I think it allowed more creative freedom for us to kind of do with it what we will, and do episodes about ourselves, and do episodes where we're on different TV shows making fun of CSI Miami or game shows. They
left us alone and let us do our thing. And I think that really allowed us to find our legs, to find our audience, and to continue doing this for as long as we have. And I think because we were a little off the radar for a lot of people, it made people get excited about something that they thought, they discovered.
Because we were kind of fringe for a while, our supporters really fought for us and really put in groundwork, but we were putting in the hours. Jensen and I, especially in those first couple of years, it was just he and me. It became clear to us that we weren't doing it for the accolades, because even though we didn't have the legacy I guess we have now, we still were there every day, bleeding and sweating and crying for this show and for these characters and for these stories.
Who are you?
Castiel.
Yeah, I figured that much. I mean, what are you?
I'm an angel of the Lord.
We knew we were setting out onto a different path, or a larger path, not just hunting monsters and ghosts and creepy crawlies. It was, now we're dealing with heaven and earth and hell and demons and angels.
I think season 2, that kind of dealt with an angel. And so we had tested the waters.
So the introduction of an angel, and one that is earthbound and also now befriending the brothers, definitely opened up this world.
It was a very technically challenging first scene that I shot, where I was like coming through these barn doors. There were sparks flying down from the ceiling, showering on my scalp. I remember it was like singeing. I was like, ow. And then I got stabbed in the first scene. And so I thought, gee, like, what have I gotten myself into with this show?
And Misha came in with this unique approach right off the bat, which it didn't read like that on the script, and it wasn't described to be as such. But he came in with this, I'm the one that gripped you. And it was like this weird, like, robot voice.
I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you from perdition.
I'm like, what is this guy doing? Has he ever acted before? And I remember thinking, like, oh, well, this character's not going to last long.
It was truly trial by fire in the very first scene. And yet, I remember thinking how warm and welcoming and inviting the cast and crew were. I didn't know that I was going to be sticking around on the show for a long run. When I first started my first episode, I thought I was going to be there for 2 more episodes after that. So, yeah, it turned into quite a run.
12 years later, I'm really happy it went that way, because my initial concern, honestly, was that it was going to close some doors, that we were going to become kind of this religious show, but it ended up opening so many doors, not the least of which is the fact that, you know, people can die and come back because we have help from up above and then sometimes down below. So it ended up being the best move we made, and that was a critical point.
It would end up being you two. I love you guys. Okay, all right. Okay.